All right, I want to ask each of you about some of the criticism you've faced in this campaign. And Ms. Fox, I'm going to start with you on this. Your campaign has begun critiquing Mr. Magaziner, comparing him to a frog, leaping from lily pad to lily pad because he switched from running for governor to running for Congress. But your former boss, Congressman Langevin, doesn't see it that way. He says Mr. Magaziner is the best choice as his successor. Why should voters back you if your own former boss, who you're looking to replace, doesn't think you're the best option?
Because I have deep roots in this district, which give me a deep understanding of the challenges that we all face, and I've spent my career working to make a difference in this district. It is no secret that one of the bigger issues, one of the bigger political issues in the general election here will be where we all live. And I take that right off the table. I will put my hometown girl up against Alan Fung's hometown boy all day long. I have also worked in both the governor's office and Capitol Hill and Congress, so I bring that experience to the table. And I'm the only one up here that can say that she's been part of a team that has beaten Alan Fung twice. And I know that we can do it again, and I'm pretty sure he does too.
Mr. Magaziner, as I said, Ms. Fox is comparing you to a leapfrog, and she's told voters you are, quote, just looking for a job. And many have noted you still don't own a permanent residence in the 2nd Congressional District. How do you respond to this criticism that you're an opportunist?
Yeah, well, listen, I spent the last 8 years working in every community across the 2nd Congressional District with people to solve problems. You know, I advocated in Burrillville with nurses and families to keep the Zambrano Hospital open. My school construction program that I launched is building new elementary schools in Cranston and Johnson. I've worked in Westerly on flood mitigation and rising sea levels. So I can be an effective member of Congress for the district because more than any other candidate in either party in this race, I've spent deep time in every community across District 2 working with people to solve problems. And what I've shown in my time as state treasurer is that I know how to cut through the nonsense, get things done, and deliver results. And I look forward to bringing those same values and that same approach to Washington.
Ms. Fox, he just name-checked quite a few CD2 towns, so he doesn't sound concerned about it.
Yeah, I bring the same experience. I may not have been elected, but I worked for a congressman and a governor who both turned to me to get the job done. And I've worked there more than just 8 years. I started as a Cranston Herald newspaper reporter. I worked at the Department of Corrections. I worked for Congressman Langevin and Gina Raimondo, and I run a small business now. So I think I bring more than enough experience here. And it should also be noted that, you know, this is about having deep roots in a community and a deep understanding of it, and I bring that to the table.
Ms. Morgenthau, I want to bring you into this. Your TV advertisements say, and you've said tonight, it's time for Rhode Island to elect a Democratic woman to Congress for the first time. Former Lieutenant Governor Elizabeth Roberts and gubernatorial nominee Mirth York say they agree, but they say that woman is Ms. Fox, not you. Which prominent elected Democratic women in Rhode Island, past or present, are supporting your candidacy?
Kate Coyne-McCoy is supporting my candidacy, and
has Kate held elected office?
Oh, about state elected office?
Current or former elected officials who are women and Democrats in Rhode Island.
You know, I have been going from community to community and meeting the voters who are excited about having a fresh perspective, not a career politician, somebody who can go to Washington and get things done because she has the experience and a proven track record of getting things done. I have served 2 presidents. I have worked at Homeland Security, making our communities safe, working on cybersecurity, working on counterterrorism, working on natural disasters, something that our ocean state knows well. I restarted travel and tourism for the United States of America during the pandemic. This is about $7 billion coming into our economy. We have a little over 1 million people. That's a heck of a lot of jobs and economic benefits. And I have the global perspective from working at the Peace Corps in over 50 countries.
But what you're saying how important it is to elect a Democratic woman for Congress, yet the Democratic women who have already gotten elected in Rhode Island are not with you.
I don't think that's true, and as I said, when I'm going from community to community, from town to town, from Burrillville to Gloucester to Block Island, to Wakefield to Westerly, to Johnston to Cranston to Warwick, the excitement about meeting me with a fresh perspective. You know, I think women now, it's not just about the Roe v. Wade decision being overturned, which I think has changed all of our lives, but it's about when I look into the eyes of a woman, and in 10 seconds, we know what we mean by having a woman's perspective in Washington for the first time.
Can I just, on this point real quick,
briefly,
you know, I want to point out that in addition to Congressman Langevin's support, which I'm grateful to have, our campaign is supported by the National Organization for Women and by prominent women elected officials in Rhode Island who are real leaders on these issues. The lead sponsor of the Reproductive Privacy Act, Anastasia Williams, the lead sponsor of the Equal Access and Abortion Coverage Act, Bridget Valverde, and others. And the reason that they're supporting our campaign is because they've seen that I show up. That when we have been fighting for these bills to codify Roe v. Wade in Rhode Island, to pass common sense gun safety legislation, I put the weight of our office, the Treasurer's office, behind those bills. I testified, I lobbied. We earned that support because they've seen that I've shown up in a way that others in Rhode Island haven't.
I want to bring Mr. Siegel into this. Mr. Siegel, you know the conventional wisdom that this district is trending more conservative. You have always been unapologetically progressive, often one of the most progressive members of the legislatures you served in. What do you say to Democrats who might like some of what you say, but say, I don't know that we can keep this seat blue if we put Dave Siegel as a nominee?
Thank you for the question. So I'm very proud of a long record of standing up for progressive values and looking for opportunities to work with people who might not agree with me on every single issue. And that goes back to before my time in the legislature. But to name a couple of examples, I served during the financial crisis when there were cuts being made to cities and towns across the state. And I brought together my colleagues, including traditional Democrats, and even some Republicans were on the mix on this, to try to blunt cuts. We succeeded to the order of at least tens of millions of dollars that were going to be imposed on cities and towns throughout the state and in District 2. And at the national level, I've been a leader on issues like reviving the anti-monopoly movement, where there's left and right cross-partisan alignment, and where we've been able to make progress by ensuring that we get new regulators in place who are actually willing to contest the power of the corporations that have too much control over our economy and too much control over our government. And voters across the political spectrum agree with me on that issue, on the need to impose a wealth tax on the very wealthy, and on a variety of other issues that my campaign is predicated on.
If I can go back for 1 second, I mean, piles of fancy endorsements are great, but the fact is that this race still has at least upwards of 37% undecided. And you haven't been able to break into 40. So what I'm concerned about is being able to keep this seat blue. I'm the only one on this stage that has been part of a team that has beaten Alan Funk twice. And the endorsement that I'm looking for is on a primary day, September 13th, from the voters of the 2nd Congressional District. And I am focused on talking to them every day about the challenges that we face together as a community and how we can do good things together for the state of Rhode Island.
Yeah, listen, I'm the only candidate in the race who's won an election anywhere in the 2nd Congressional District in this primary. We won the 2nd Congressional District in both of my races for state treasurer, last time with more than 60% of the vote. And the reason that the National Organization for Women and all these other groups are endorsing me is because they've seen that I show up and I produce results. I'll do that in Washington just as I've done it in Rhode Island.
I want to give each of you 15 seconds, and we do have to move on. Ms. Morgenthau and then Mr. Siegel.
I just want to say that I am the mother of 3 children, and I am seeing here, watching this fighting. The voters are hurting right now. We have very serious issues that we're facing. Everything costs too damn much. We need to have somebody who's experienced, who on day one can go to Washington and deliver the results that we need for people here in Rhode Island who are hurting and who are looking for somebody to lead.
Final word goes to Mr.
And to
Siegel.
fight for them.
I don't want to belabor it, but I did represent parts of District 2 and live in it during my time in the Assembly. But moreover, just to your question earlier, even the DCCC is now acknowledging that pushing back against corporate power as a framework, as a way of representing democratic values, is one of the most successful ways that we can push back and beat Republicans in tight general elections this fall.